Well, here we are under a freezing Arctic blast, where much hinges on the Saturday inspections. If all goes well, the Ascot Chase will feature at the Berkshire track, with the Reynoldstown and the Swinley Handicap also on the card. Down in Wincanton, we've dispatched Jaysella to cover the Kingwell hurdle and we'll get to her in a minute. Also, up at Haydock Park, should it survive the morning inspection, Cabral du Mathan is one to keep an eye out for, and if he goes in then the Skelton brothers are in for a quick double, with Dalston Lad in the Prestige Novices hurdle to follow. And of course later on it's all about John Bon in the Betfair Chase. Talking of which, there's not much value on offer for backing John Bon for this Grade 1, especially up against course specialist Pic D'Orhy, but I still think he'll win. This soft ground isn't ideal for 2024 and 2025 winner, Pic D'Orhy, whereas John Bon won't be fussed in the slightest about this much cut, so it's the old boy Edward Stone that might put up the biggest fight. It must be between these three, and although it's dangerous to write off Pic D'Orhy around here, John Bon edges it given the conditions in a decent renewal. But now let's get over to Jaysella at Wincanton.
Thanks, boss. And if all goes well, here I will be at Wincanton for a Mares Novices Chase and the Kingwell Hurdle. So, the Agatha Christie Mares Chase is no mystery to me, haha, which I say is a straight-up showdown between Kilbarry Saint and Bluey. But Bluey's winning this. I did have a little chat with Caroline over Con O'Keefe's Kilbarry Saint, and I do appreciate that this is not the strongest black-type contest to make the trip over from Ireland for, but I like the form line of Bluey, form that has been franked with my last Saturday's selection, Hollygrove Chacha winning a listed race at Windsor. This pair have bumped into one another more than once this winter, so I think that Bluey should have the edge over Kilbarry Saint on Saturday. Sorry, Caroline, and I may regret saying this considering your tipster form just now, but it's Bluey to make it a red letter day on a day when red envelopes might be just what you want. Before I get back to the boss, Caroline did remind me to look out for Stormheart in the Red Mills at Garan Park, Lord Rouge in the Novice Hurdle, and with no surprise, her nap of the day in Pair A-Pass in the Red Mills Chase. Now, back to Ascot, boss.
Thank you, Jaysella, and yes, it's hats off to Caroline for her magnificent 5 out of 5 last Sunday, just to add to her 2 on Saturday. Please bring that winning spell over with you next month. But, on to Saturday's nap, which is lining up in the Reynoldstown Novices Chase, at Ascot. Given the ground here at Ascot, which is going to be pretty deep, I've no doubt that Ben Pauling's The Jukebox Kid is the one to follow. I do see that Philip Hobbs and Johnson White's Thomas Moore has attracted plenty of followers in the markets this week. But his record on soft ground doesn't really stand up to scrutiny. Joe Tizard's Western Knight might prove the bigger danger and could well take things on from the front in search of the hat trick, as he did at Haydock Park back in December. But that could play into Ben Jones' hands as he waits in the wings for this 3-mile trip on deep ground to take its toll. The Jukebox Kid to continue the great run in chases this season for Ben Pauling and Ben Jones. My next best goes to post in the Swinley Handicap. No fly-by-night is Noctivolatus, and I think he's the one that can cope with these conditions and land this Premier Handicap. Tom Lacey's veteran is proving to be better than ever this term, with wins at Warwick and Sandown Park, setting him up for the hat trick. Nudged up another £2 for that latest win, this still looks a workable mark. He's definitely one for your each-way perm if that's your strategy, but could even go on to win the 3rd in a row. Stablemate Montregard and Yonjo and AJ O'Neill's Gypcot should all have a say, but I'll take Noctivolatus in his current mood. Now we'll get back to Jaysella for her punt in the Kingwell.
Thanks, boss. So it's rhubarb for me in the Kingwell. There's no golden ace for Jeremy Scott, who will now go straight to the champion hurdle at Cheltenham, but can Rhubarb beat hot favourite Alexi to win the Kingwell? I think so, although both this pair would prefer better ground, that being the reason we're not seeing Golden Ace lining up, but Paul Nicholls knows that Rhubarb knows his way around here, so I'm counting on that to see him home. Alexei is a hot outside tip for the champion hurdle at Cheltenham next month, but I'm reckoning Rhubarb will have his measure here in a bit of a battle.
Right, thank you, Jaysella, and up at Haydock Park, the very exciting Cabral du Mathan is making the journey up to Merseyside for more graded honours, and it'll be a braver punter than me that will back against him. Fresh from a New Year's Day success at Cheltenham in the Relkeel hurdle, this first try at a 3-mile trip is a fascinating move, as Dan Skelton toys with the prospect of having a Festival Stayers hurdle winner in his yard. And to my mind, there was so much left under the bonnet in that Cheltenham win. This longer trip on Haydock Park's flatter track looks just the ticket. He does take on two in-form handicappers in Henri II and French Ship, who deserve their place in this lineup, with Henri II looking a big danger on this soft ground, and French Ship likewise certainly able on going with cut. Questions to be answered here over how good Cabral du Mathan can be, and I'd expect a typically patient ride from Harry Skelton, given the new distance. Fascinating, can't wait frankly. Later on at Haydock Park, I might take a chance on the unexposed Rivers Corner for the Grand National Trial. Joe Tizard's progressive chaser does seem to have moved on this season, and hasn't been far away in 3 runs before scoring at Wincanton, so with deep ground to suit, could make a bold bid from the front, as Haydock Park in deep ground can ask questions of those with unproven stamina. Myertown looks an obvious candidate, but probably lost the Peter Marsh here 3 out with a costly error last month. So has a reputation to resurrect from a big weight. While Richmond Lake seems too often the bridesmaid but not the bride to have confidence in backing him for the win. Dan Skelton's deafening silence completes my list, but I've a spidey sense that Rivers Corner might be the one.